Hello, well wishers, friends, customers, and my team members of Nkar. Today, reaching out to 2026, an Nkar brand heading towards its 46th year by 1st of April. I thought it'll be nice to unveil an interesting story about Nkar and how we got into tourism at its very outset. I wish if this story can be an inspiring one for young and energetic who wants to get into tourism in Sri Lanka. We started the company in 1980, almost 45 years plus, as a company offering services in the airline ticketing division and offering transportation for tourists through big time tour operators. Actually, Nkar was a transport agent for all big brands then. But surely, from the very beginning, company was moving in the right direction. I personally put in a lot of effort. I was very young, with a lot of energy. A very, very close friend of mine's father, Mr. Jeff Assis, saw my efforts, perseverance, and endeavors trying to get into the tourism industry. This gentleman, Mr. Jeff Assis, was the manager of Wildlife and Nature Protection Society of Sri Lanka at that time. I believe the WNPS, or the Wildlife and Nature Protection Society, is one of the oldest societies in the world. And the office was at that time down Chaitra Road, next to the Anglers Club and behind Ceylon Intercontinental then. So there were lots of people who walked into the WNPS office wanting to gather more information about the country, the wildlife, and so on. And they also looked up to or requested for help from Mr. Jeff Assis to get an introduction to a reliable tour operator or a transport agent. Mr. Jeff Assis's son, Arshad Aziz, was also in the airline industry then in Sri Lanka. He was my great friend. Because of our connection, Mr. Aziz decided to help me out. Whenever there was such request, he put me on to them. I met up with them in my office, discussed, offered my services. I believe whoever who spoke to me at that time was very convinced that I was capable of doing the tour very well. Though we were in a very, very small office, 250 square feet office down Bristol Street. Because I feel it that way, whoever who sat with me for a discussion went off confirming the tour. So as we were going on, for good 6 to 7 months, I handled quite a bit of tours for these tourists who came from various countries looking for someone to plan their tour when they have arrived in the country. Mr. Aziz also gained confidence in me, was very happy to support me. About a year and a half went by. One day he called me and said, a friend of his from Germany is arriving in Sri Lanka. And this gentleman was a naturalist by the name Mr. Wolfgang Kratzer. Mr. Aziz also said he has established a small tour operating company and he's a naturalist. He would like to meet a small time tour operator to bring in his tour groups from Germany to Sri Lanka. So on his arrival we met up. I was introduced to Mr. Kratzer. Wonderful gentleman, very unassuming. He was happy to teach me, realizing that I was a small timer, newcomer. He was happy to teach me the finer points of expectations of a German tourist, and gave me a bit of advice on health, safety and quality standards. I was just barely a small time offering airline ticket services and transportation. Gathering that information from Mr. Wolfgang Kratzer, we planned out a beautiful tour covering quite a few wildlife parks, places like Singharaja, places of interest with biodiversity. And over a period of 6 days or 7 days, he and I did a tour planning our future operation. Got back to Colombo, sat together, designed a wonderful tour covering all these areas which I mentioned, finalized everything. In my own small way, I went into relationship building, entertaining him in Colombo, the little bit that I could have, invited him at home, invited Mr. Jeff Aziz and my friend, his son Arshad Aziz. We had a wonderful time, started learning how to build relationships as well with a foreign tour operator. So he greeted, said goodbye and went back to Germany with a Sri Lankan product ready for his company, Natur Erlebnis Reisen. I think the meaning of it is nature-based adventure tours. After about a month and a half or 2 months, he confirmed about 4 or 5 tour groups to Sri Lanka, up to a maximum of, if I recollect, 15 or 20 to Sri Lanka during different months. I was so very excited, happy to be in it, felt very much achieved, planned it out, made all reservations, confirmed the series group of 5 or 6 to the gentleman. He was very convinced, happy that within a short period of 3 to 4 weeks or within a month, I'd confirmed all the rooms, hotels, and planned it out the way he wanted. Started with the first one. I guess it was in 1982 or so. This gentleman, Wolfgang Kratzer, arrived with each and every group, and we had our own Sri Lankan guide, Mr. Harry De Silva, who was working for me, who was also an ornithologist. The year went by. He was extremely happy. Endorsements and recognition for handling in Sri Lanka was great. We went in for the second year, planning of the second year. My audience, this operation was so very successful. For good 1 or 2 years, We had very regular groups arriving in Sri Lanka. Well, that helped bringing the Nkar brand to the inbound tourism market. The hoteliers then began to recognize Nkar also as a tour operator. That was the start and a great beginning. About 2 years later, quite a large operator from Germany one morning walked into my office, arriving straight from the airport. Together, his friend, who was working in Sri Lanka at that time, another German gentleman. In this little 250 square feet office, wanting to meet Nilmin Nanekar. I was proud, right? A German operator wanting to meet me, what's up? This gentleman sat in front of me and introduced his company to Nkar. And I realized that was a fairly established company, unlike Natur Erlebnis Reisen and Nkar. We were doing a number in a very small way and wanted this company to work with us direct. I asked him as to how he came to know about Nkar. He said, at least about 30% of the passengers who are brought to Sri Lanka by Wolfgang Kratzer are his passengers. And he said, let Wolfgang continue with his groups. I have a beach stay operation, long stay beach stay operation, for which Wolfgang is not too interested. I shall continue channeling my tour operators through Wolfgang for nature-based tours, but classical and beach operation, will you be able to handle direct for me? It was around 9:30 in the morning. I said, okay, you've just arrived in the country. He said his friend was working in Sri Lanka for some German organization. I said, sit back, relax. I'll book a hotel for you. Go there and rest a bit. I'll see you in the evening. After talking to Wolfgang, and if he's okay, I'm happy to start working with you, serve you. If not, I don't think it's fair for me to get your business direct while he's working through you. That much was my ethics even then, as a young man of 22 years or 23 years. I think he was very impressed the way I looked at the whole thing. He said, that's fair. I quickly arranged the Palm Beach Hotel in Mount Lavinia at that time, which was a good 3-star plus property. They were happy to offer my number 2 operator complimentary. I felt great. Arranged transport, sent him over, waited till about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, impatiently wanting to talk to Wolfgang and tell him about the new development and ask him how he would like to look at it. I had to wait till 2 o'clock knowing the time difference. Called him in the morning. He was happy to get a call from me, and I told him the full story, that this gentleman is interested in working through me directly for beach stay operations and for classical tours. So when I gave him the name of the brand, Wolfgang said, Nilmin, please go ahead, accept. I was shocked to hear that from another. My expectation was for him to say, look, tell him that you will do serving for him, but for the business to be channeled through Wolfgang. He said, no, it's a good opportunity for a young man like you. It's a well-established tour operator. Just go ahead with your tours. And he further said, Nilmin, I might not be doing this operation to Sri Lanka in long term. Maybe 2-3 years, when my friends, members who are connected to me have seen Sri Lanka, I may look at another destination. So that much small is my operation. This is an opportunity, just go ahead. So in my own little way, as a person who looked up for ethics, suggested that I would share a percentage of my profits with him from all the businesses I get from the new company. He smiled, laughed. I was able to visualize his laughter at the face from the phone and said, hey Nilmin, thank you very, very much for your generosity, but I don't need that. You take that, reinvest it, bring your company up. I'll be very proud of you. Then story went on like that. I met up with the new operator in the evening, confirmed my offers to serve him, and also I conveyed to him appreciating Mr. Kratzer's attitude and the way he wanted to help me. And I quickly informed Mr. Jeff Hassis, look, through you I met him, and I have met the second person through Wolfgang now. He was happy himself, and we confirmed the business together. This organization continued operations to Sri Lanka since then to date, and they are working with me as a close partner. So the business developed in the German market in that fashion. Mr. Kratzer continued for 2-3 years, as he said. After some time, he gave up his operations to Sri Lanka and he was looking at other destinations in Asia. We stayed in touch. And I think after 1984 or 85, he never came to Sri Lanka. So this gentleman, Mr. Kratzer, was very much in touch with me. I quietly started expanding my inbound tourism business, by which time I've learned the tricks of the trade. I came to know about this ITB then by 1983 or so. I was one of the youngest to participate at ITB in 83 or 84 from Sri Lanka. Nkar continued its expansion. Being a small operator, slowly but surely went into the level of a medium-sized tour operator. I was busy myself, having to do a lot of things as a medium-sized operator. Though we were good friends and had a good bonding, over a period of time, Mr. Kratzer's telex address changed, his contacts changed. I think he changed his address, if I recollect right. We lost touch with one another, and it was a sad moment, and he never returned to Sri Lanka after 1984. It's not because that he was upset with me. It's not because our friendship ended there. It's just that I think he was busy with his own thing as a small operator, a medium-sized operator. I got busy with my own thing. Story continues. I'll tell you the next part of it on another day.